Yeah, you. Come here.
Who's that?
Little plastics.
You're invited to eat lunch with us?
Let's start off on a positive note.
So I'm just going to start with the most shocking is that even for a musical, I enjoyed it. Let me start with like what I love. Damien, probably my favorite part. And not just that like I loved who played Damien. I didn't mind that it was someone else because that is a character that like I love from the original. Same with Kevin G and Janice. They were all good. I'm Kevin G and Janice. I still might prefer the originals. But Damien, I'm like, I don't even know. They were both so great. They both owned it.
Oh, candy cane grab for Shane on me.
Damien and Janice both had little romances, and like they were like barely like anything. They were like footnotes, and like they made my heart like just like do a little like jump for joy. And at first I thought I wasn't really gonna like Busy Phillips' character, even though I love Busy Phillips because I love Freaks and Geeks.
She sounds awesome. Yeah, well, she's dead. She OD'd on coke.
Once like I saw her character just like play it out, this is a good character. And, you know, I just liked her performance.
For sure, Regina, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. George. You have a beautiful mansion.
Just slay, queen. Slay like no one's watching.
And there was a lot of fun little callbacks to the original. I like how it wasn't like, let's just pretend the original didn't happen. There was like, you know, the whole fetch is slang from an old movie.
So fetch.
What is fetch?
It's like slang from an old movie.
And I don't know if I really want to say the other things, but they were really cute. Little cute, fun callbacks.
Okay, so I thought the person who played Damien did a phenomenal job as well. Thought they brought some new life to that character.
This is a cautionary tale about corruption and betrayal and getting hit by a bus.
It didn't feel one note. Neither version did. But it was nice that even in 2024, they were able to freshen that up a bit. I thought Moana did a good job as Janice.
Aww.
Yeah, I don't want to butcher her name, so
so she's Moana.
She's Moana. I'm too afraid to say the lead's name, but I thought Renee Rapp did a good job. I'm very familiar with her work on Sex Lives on Max. She's the best part, and she quit, so that's fun. I thought the girl who played Karen did a great job.
She did a great job, but in the beginning, I was doubting her character. Like, Amanda Seyfried did such a great job as Karen.
It's 68 degrees, and there's a 30% chance that it's already raining.
At first, I just wasn't sold by her character, and then I was like, okay, she might be a genius. Like, I don't even know if I'm talking about the character or the actress. But I was like, she might be a genius. That's how I kind of felt towards the end of the film. But yeah, okay, go on.
I thought Aaron Samuels and Caddy had good chemistry.
Are you trying to make the rest of us feel dumb?
No, I'm not trying to. It's just happening.
Oh, okay, it's like that. All right.
I liked Busy Phillips. I wished it was more than just what the original did.
In this house, I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. Right, Regina?
Please stop talking.
Cool mom with 6 O's. Hashtag aging hotly. Hashtag
get out.
You know, can't win them all. Tina Fey, of course, was nice. Yeah, that's my... Oh, and I thought the music wasn't that bad.
My name is Richard.
And that's all I have to say that's positive.
All right, I will say the music wasn't bad, but there's only one song that I'm like, I want to hear that again. And it's the one towards the end?
Is it the one where Caddy sings?
I think so. Prom. Yeah. The Regina song, obviously, it's a little stuck in my head. But I could also tell you I don't know any of the words. As she was singing it, I was like, I don't know what she's saying. I know she sounds good while she's doing it, but, like, I don't know what she's saying. I hear I'm Regina George and blah. I know it was a lot more sophisticated than that, but I couldn't really make out anything else. Oh, and then there was the Karen Halloween TikTok scene.
And also Halloween.
And I just turned to Stevie and I was like, this is a lot. Like, visually, it was like too much for me. I was like, I am overstimulated. I feel like I might have an epileptic seizure.
So the person I saw it with, I had some problems with that scene, but not for the reasons you said. I felt the person playing Karen did such a great job playing a dumbass. And when she started to sing, she looked a little too smart. I can't explain it.
I can cure sex cancer. Sex cancer doesn't exist. I did it. That's very good.
But like, it just felt like she it felt like the actor was coming out instead of the character. But the person I saw it with was like, well, no, because Karen, when she sings in her dreams, she's smart. She understands what's going on. She knows what's going on. She controls what's going on. And I was like, oh, so that was one of the flaws that was taken off immediately when they gave me their impassioned plea about why Karen looks different when they sing.
That's funny. I didn't feel that way. I felt like she stayed. I think that's why I was like, oh my god, is she actually like a genius? Like, and like I said, I don't even know if I'm talking about the character or the actress. There was just.
Well, I think what it was, this movie is residue of this Netflix film called Senior Year with Rebel Wilson. And
is that the one where she has the concussion or she's in a coma?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay. That is a movie that's been on my like need to watch list, and now you've just like motivated me to watch it.
Do you love it? That is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard.
Steph?
You'll probably like that one a lot more now because Caddy is in there and she does a phenomenal job in there. Can't say the same for Mean Girls, but she does a great job playing a cocky Rebel Wilson young version of her. And the person who plays Karen plays one of Rebel Wilson's friends in the future. And she plays a pretty normal teen. And I think I was used to seeing her in that because she is night and day different. I had to look up the trailer of the film because I was like, is that really her? Because she, like, honestly, Amanda Seyfried for a long time couldn't get people to take her seriously after Mean Girls.
I'm sometimes like shocked even today. It's almost like I see a Amanda Seyfried's performance today and I'm like, oh my god, she was Karen. And I bet it was a lot of work because like I feel like I almost see her as two different people. I think Karen is an actual person to me.
Okay, back to this 2024 one. The thing about this new one, I thought the main girl was very miscast.
Really?
Why
do you think she was miscast?
She was far too naturalistic.
So, hold on. I don't think I think Lindsay Lohan was perfect. You know, I'm never going to critique that performance. I love that era. It was golden. The girl who played Katie this time around, I thought she was, granted she's not a girl next door because she's the girl from Kenya, but I thought she was more believable. Like, by the time she was a plastic, I was like, wow, she's like really, really pretty. And they just did a better job of like, oh no, like when it comes to Lindsay Lohan, you could probably, it's like the crowding at Homecoming and the water sprays all over Regina. She just ended up being hotter. Like, Lindsay Lohan is just gorgeous, you know, like, and it was very hard to, like, I guess not at the time, but like when I compare the two actresses, it's like, of course every guy was going to hit on you in school. Like, of course people were going to want you to be popular and you'd be the queen bee. You're gorgeous. And I think they did a better job of like dressing down this caddy so that it was like a more sneak attack. And she just felt, I don't know, she felt more believable as like a girl I would know at school, especially in high school.
I can agree with that. She looked the part, and she was the main reason I was very hopeful for this new one. So I think I put a lot of eggs in that basket. But it's one of those things where it's everybody else around her. Where, like, yes, she looks more like the girl next door, looks more like a person you would see in the halls. But for me, when the film around her is so exaggerated and so, I don't want to say phony, but just kind of like, I guess I'll say theatrical. And she just isn't as theatrical. And so to me, she feels so out of place. I wrote down, at times, it feels like we're watching the Eric Stoltz version of Back to the Future, where the filmmakers didn't fire him and replace him with Michael J. Fox. Now, I know that sounds mean, but the reason why I say that is because that actor is I think they are very talented. I think everything I've seen them in, they've elevated.
You're the guy who beat up my dad.
Hey, no. Sucker punched your dad. Big difference.
The Nice Guys, she's Ryan Gosling's daughter, and I just always remember their camaraderie. They were Kate Winslet's daughter and mayor of Easttown. He was also in this little teen romantic comedy where like a boy she likes changes different boys. And the reason why I use the Eric Stoltz comparison is that I think Eric Stoltz is one of the best actors from the 80s. And the thought of him being in Back to the Future sounds awesome. But then you see it, like if you've ever seen the dailies of the Eric Stoltz version, he just looks so serious. And he kind of makes the film feel a little bit more, not darker, but more mature. And I don't think this Mean Girls needed that. It felt very much like the Caddy slowed things down for me personally. Not saying for the film itself. I felt bad because it just felt like they just left her out to dry. And that's why I think like the other actors are gonna probably be more elevated than she will from this film when she's the lead. I think Renee Rapp is gonna become more popular than ever because of this film. I think the person who played Karen is going to become more popular. I think the guy that played Jonathan or whatever was unfairly treated on TikTok. They were calling him ugly.
Wait, that played Jonathan?
Sorry, not Jonathan. What was his name? Aaron Samuels?
Oh, Aaron Samuels.
Sorry, what did I say, Jonathan? Anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Jonathan Bennett is the name of the original Aaron Samuels. I think I'm just getting it all mixed up like a jumbo.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Like,
mental soup.
Oh, sorry, mental soup. What did I say? A jumbo? I meant gumbo. But yes.
Mental gumbo. Got it.
So it just felt to me like, it feels like I'm ripping into her, but I just felt very much like, it reminded me very much of the Eric Stoltz comparison, where like you're seeing an actor that's not better than the actors around them, but far more interesting to me personally. Like that to me, like you can put that actor in any decade and they'll fit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can put her even in the 1800s, they'll fit. And she's also Australian and she hides it so well, in my opinion.
I definitely wasn't one of the popular kids. I think I was similar to Katie in being a bit of a nerd and trying to get the cool kids to like me. So I identify.
No, I couldn't tell. So.
Oh, and then also I felt like she wasn't the strongest singer because hers was the most auto-tuned out of everybody.
Each other's way, you're star.
And it felt more phony when she looks the most real to me personally. And then you have like another actor who I thought did a good job, but she wasn't very memorable as well, was the person that played Gretchen Wieners. Like I felt like and I understand like they're adapting the Broadway musical. They're not really adapting the 2004 film. But like it felt to me like Gretchen Wieners had more agency and more character in the original one. Her dad was like the inventor of toaster strudel. So that made it like, oh, of course you'd be a plastic. Like that's good access. That's good money. And this one, it just kind of felt like three randos just banded together somehow. And it just didn't have that like immediately sisterly bond. And I thought she wasn't given much to do. So I thought she did well with what little she was given. And then I just felt like because like her character literally goes from like liking a boy that doesn't like her to going like, ugh, you called me the wrong name? Screw you. I just felt like that character and that actor deserved better. But you know, that's just me looking too deeply into the musical. That's looking too deeply.
No, so I will say I enjoyed this movie, but I prefer the original, and like almost every part. The only part that I'm like I don't know is the Damien part. And I just mean like, you know, like I loved Rachel McAdams. I feel bad that I can't remember Gretchen's name, but I totally agree. Her character had a lot more depth, but I think some of the character was sacrificed by the singing. However, Gretchen did have a great song. You know, this is probably more about the actress, but I thought like, you know, you could really like, you know, you got to know that character in that song in the dressing room.
myself, no, you're right. I could listen to you like a fool all night.
Oh, didn't your heart break during the Santa part where Regina like snaps at Karen? It's like about like the 11 boys or something. Like her face like looked like it looked like someone killed a dog in front of her. It looked so sad. Like I remember like the person behind me went, oh. Her reaction was that shocking to the person behind me in the theater.
I mean, Mean Girls, it's kind of like, I don't know, surprising that they messed with it because the original was just so good. And like, I know you're saying like Renee Rapp did a great, she did do a great job, but like, I'm just thinking of Rachel McAdams in the principal's office after like the burn book comes out, and I'm just thinking of her performance and how like spot on it was, and like, you know, she was both playing the part so well, but then like when she corrects the principal on what the burn book says, like she snaps out of her sadness for a second and then goes back to it.
Don't worry, we're gonna find out who did it.
There's only 3 girls in the whole school who aren't in it.
I love it.
And I agree with you. Like I think if I'm gonna compare, I wasn't gonna compare right away, but the difference between Rachel McAdams and Renee Rapp for me is that Rachel McAdams, I feel like when she plays Regina, it kind of feels like multifaceted.
So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen. These sweatpants are all that fits me right now.
And it kind of feels like this Regina here could be nice to you, could have been a nice person, but just chooses not to be. I don't know. It just kind of felt like there was more layers to Rachel McAdams, and this one, and I understand it's a musical, that's why. But like, it just kind of like when she was like nice to Caddy at the end. Sorry, this is not really a spoiler, but like when she's nicer at the end on Caddy, that felt far more naturalistic than her being like mean. And in the original film, when Rachel McAdams is like on the drugs, it's like, oh, the nice thing is she's not used to it whatsoever. So it just kind of felt like this Regina, this new one, was a nice person that chooses to be mean. The original one was more gray, and this one was more black and white. But that's, you know...
I think that's a fair assessment. One thing I got to say about this Regina was, like, I'm not saying Rachel McAdams wasn't, you know, she's a very beautiful woman, and, you know, there was definitely, you know, with all, like, the dresses and stuff, the sex appeal was, like, a thing. You know, like, the whole Halloween being slutty. It's not that it wasn't in the first film at all, but, like... something just felt like so laid on thick with like the sexiness Regina was supposed to have. I was like, what is going on?
And this new one or the old?
This new one. Oh, and the amount of push-up bras. I was like, what is going on here? That might be a weird comment, but I was just like, oh no, maybe it's because I'm a mom and I'm like, put these children's boobs away. Maybe I gotta go back and watch the first one and see like if my mom sense comes in. But like I felt like I was like, oh no. It was almost like, you know, some of the Regina in that, especially like when you first see her, one, like Caddy almost looks like she's like, you know, like attracted to her and like, I don't know, like, I don't know if she's supposed to just be like kind of like in awe. What is this? But like, it reminded me of Sandy at the end of Grease when she, you know, is a pink lady? Is she even a pink lady or is she like a greaser? Anyways, you know, when she's all sexed up in her hot pants and her leather jacket. What's that?
No, yeah, she is a pink lady, yes.
She is a pink lady? Okay, but she's wearing all leather. So that's what I'm thrown off about. Anyways, you know, I've seen Grease probably 500 times, you know. Thank you, Hartley. But that's what that felt like to me more than like being Regina George.
But to add on to your Regina George assessments, what really stuck out to me about this new one is that it felt like the act, because I know Renee played her on Broadway, but you can tell like they craved that opportunity to be in this film. And I feel like Lindsay Lohan had that craving in the first Mean Girls. You can tell Lindsay Lohan is like really excited to be there. There's no reason why like that role should be that memorable, but they really elevated that, like her and Rachel McAdams and all of them. Because at the time, like, what I'm saying is I felt like Renee Rapp really wanted this. And it felt like I was watching like a star in the making a little bit. And I didn't really get that from everybody else as much. But it just kind of felt like the movie didn't really take any risk. It just felt very safe, which is fine. And it's fun, but it just didn't feel like it was fun enough to justify being that safe. And when they have it that close to the original film, it just kind of, I don't know, like the beginning for me, that was really like different to me.
Oh, I thought, yeah. I was like, if this is how it's going to be, I could get on board with this. But
yes, and they don't.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, here's the maker. But I was like, oh, like Janice and Damien right away, like they're like the narrators, and I was like, okay, I mess with this. Like, I was like, imagine like during the film, like they're just like narrating scenes.
So the moral of our story is thus: calling someone stupid won't make you any smarter.
And even the people you really don't like are still people who just want to coexist.
It's the same film I saw 20 years ago, but not as good. And the songs were not that bad, but the issue is the songs are very Broadway, and on film sometimes it doesn't translate well.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little bit confused why they, like, I read they cut out like 5 of the songs, and I was like, why would you cut out the songs? You can do so many cool things with them on film. But if they're too Broadway, it could like make the movie seem more phony.
Strategy, it always works because the world doesn't end. It just feels like it does. Just raise your right finger.
A lot of people already don't like musicals. So like if you're like,
yeah, I'm aware.
So if you like already added more of like, you know, like boop da da da, you know, like I'm not a good Broadway singer, but you know what I'm saying. Like if you added more show tunes, it's gonna alienate the audience. Because I was starting to be like, ugh, another song. Last flaw of the film, for myself, disagreement I had, is that I just felt very much like visually it was ugly a little bit.
15 seconds, but then she was revived. And of course, the rumor mill started going insane.
Y'all, so I just saw Regina get hit by a bus. Artery come out of her neck and her head went all the way around her eyes. Street safety is...
It felt very cramped. The original film to me feels very open, feels very inviting. It feels like I can remember like places, settings, like leaves. And this one I just felt I felt very close to everything. Like it felt like I could like see people's noses at times. And like even like when they like have like the dance break scene, it just feels like everything's so closed in. For me personally, it felt very claustrophobic being like watching that movie after a while. And then especially when she's on the treadmill and like realizes those things are getting her fat. Like I know it's supposed to be like a crazy close up, but that's how close we feel the whole time. So it's just kind of like, you know, for me I was like it just felt very like visually for me I felt the film was very ugly and just too close, and I just didn't feel like it was very expansive.
I don't want to say it was ugly. I just don't like. There was
ugly is a harsh word.
Very few scenes. Yeah, it's just I wasn't. It's not like one scene left a lasting impression on me visually. There was, you know, from that perspective, like, yeah, I don't really have anything that I took away. Like, you know, like when we're talking about the screaming, like, yeah, okay, that was pretty, you know, she did a pretty good job. But I remember when Rachel McAdams screamed. You know, I thought it was fun.
Okay, so I'm gonna, sorry, so people that have heard me say it's ugly, I'm gonna take that back. I'm giving the film I'm judging it too harshly, because it was made for streaming. It was made for Paramount Plus.
Oh, interesting.
And they were just gonna release it on Paramount Plus, and then they realized we're losing so much money doing this. Let's try to make these movies get some heat by putting them in theaters. And also another thing about this about the new one that I felt was very underutilized, the burn book. It felt like they didn't utilize that as much as they should have.
So I guess the singing, I think, took away. There was an unfair loss, you know, to put in the singing and like what you lost because that was in there. Because I agree with you on the burn book. The other thing that is like a big critique for me is that I didn't really feel like there was a strong friendship between Katie and Damien and Janice. In the original film, there was a lot of time, you know, like that character development, that friendship development was established. And I just barely even saw them together in the musical. So it's like, why would she feel committed to them?
No, you're right, because like I was talking about, like, in the original film, you see them like under like the trees, talking, scheming.
Exactly.
And like in this one, like, yeah, they scheme, but it feels very much like it's my turn to sing and scheme instead of like them all being like an ensemble. And that's not taking away from the new film. It just felt like in the new film, they weren't as close as they should be. It just felt like the film needed them to be friends. And like like that's why I was very glad that the actor playing Damien did such a great job, because he really sold a lot of the gaps I would have had to take. Like,
yes, exactly. Like his character was, you loved him so much from the very beginning that you're like, of course Katie's friends with him. Who wouldn't want to be his friend? We love him. We need to defend him, even though it was, you know, mainly a Janice thing. But yeah, he was fantastic, and I agree. His performance, if it wasn't as good as it was, would have caused problems.
Probably.
Well, it would have caused problems just because, like, well, if you just said it. Like, if he wasn't that good, it would feel like, why does Katie owe them anything?
Literally. Like, because, like, what's more fun, having no friends or having lots of friends? Come on. And so that's what I really liked about also the original film. They, like, when she's on that like math team, it felt like there was more build up to that.
Definitely.
And in this one, it's kind of, you're on the math team, and it's like, oh, is this movie almost over? And so, like, it's just, I don't know. There's just, for me personally, I felt like the film did not end strongly, did not start strongly, but there's some strong elements in there. I had some fun. I thought the actor playing Kevin G, shout out, he made me laugh the hardest.
She'd be like, oh, Kevin G.
Inappropriate. Kevin, we talked about this.
Happy holidays, everybody.
You know, just little moments like that make the movie memorable for me. And honestly, I can see 20 years from now them making another one.
Probably. Or, I don't know, there's going to be something.
Like,
how will Mean Girls evolve in 20 years?
Hopefully it's not like, oh, your home's... Oh, God, I don't want to picture that. Let's just hope that in 20 years that the next one isn't a musical. All right, well, let's wrap up tonight, or today. I'm not going to tell anybody what time it is. It could be, you know, early morning. Who knows? Let's wrap up this morning. So I'm your host, Garrett.
I'm your host, Kiaya.
And thank you for joining us, and cannot wait to talk to you soon. Have a nice day. And, and please...
See ya.
Sorry, and please subscribe.